name's Gary. I'm the account manager with Home Guard. Just a little bit about myself and Home Guard. I live in Temecula. I've been with Home Guard for about a year and a half, which is when they came to this area. Okay. Home Guard's been around for 30 years, operating out of Northern California. It's a family-owned business. Two guys started the business 30 years ago. One of them owned a termite company, and one was a successful real estate broker. And they came together and said, how can we make this whole process better and more agent focused? Because back then the termite companies weren't really, they did all kinds of different things. They weren't focused on the agent. So Home Guard started out, and the focus was to focus on the real estate transaction, not, we're not out looking for pest control contracts or anything like that. We don't do anything not related to the real estate transaction. So they've been there for 30 years. They are the #1 inspection company in California. Perform over 50,000 inspections per year. They're approaching their millionth inspection. Wow. The last presentation I had was from about a year and a half ago. I started with 700,000. So they're getting close to a million. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully there's a big party or something. But so we're a little different than most inspection companies in that we offer the home inspection, the termite inspection, and the roof inspection. We do all three. We do them in one appointment to make your life. Again, that's our whole goal, is to make the agent's life easier. I said I can make it easy. I can't make it easy. I can make it easier. We also do NHDs, and we do home warranty as well. So we truly try to be a one-stop shop. We can also do the repairs on the termite and the roof because we're licensed. We're licensed termite, which you have to be, and we're licensed with the California State Contractors Board for roofing. So because we're licensed there, we can do that. Home inspectors are not licensed. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. Now they can be certified, and our home inspectors are certified. We're ASHI certified, which is a national accreditation, and it's not easy to get. It's very hard to pass the test, and then you have to have 250 paid inspections under your belt to get that ASHI certification. So you can be in an ASHI program, but not yet completed because you got to get those 250 things. Yeah, well, we're pretty busy. So we send our guys up north where we're doing a ton of volume, and they can get it done relatively quick. And that's something else we do. We send all our inspectors up to Northern California to our home office to meet with the owners, learn our way of doing things, and before they come out here and get released out to represent Home Guard. Everybody works for us. They drive company vehicles. They wear company uniforms. It's a cool experience when you do our VIP package, which is all 3 home termite roof. They come driving up, 3 guys in 3 Home Guard vehicles. They get out with the phones around the vehicles. Someone described it as a circus once, but the home and the roof inspector will start by flying drones, so they'll get to work doing that. And then they'll just go attack the property. We use iPads that have proprietary software on them that allow them to do the inspection very thoroughly but efficiently. And then at the end, they'll do a review with you on that iPad, so they kind of show you the pictures and show you what's going to end up being in the report. And then that same software that they use allows them to get our reports back same day. So we get our reports, even our termite reports, same day. Unless you have the afternoon appointment, then more often than not, you'll get it same day, but we guarantee 24 hours if you have the afternoon. CAR just announced, the California Association of Realtors just announced that they are now have a certification program for home inspectors. And we're already completed 100%. All of our inspectors are CAR certified as well. So that's something new to see. And we're excited about that because it's frustrating to see, if you want, you can go be a home inspector tomorrow. Right. You can print cards today and be a home inspector tomorrow. It's really that easy. So with ASHI and what we already do and with CAR, it just kind of stands us up because we already thoroughly background check all our inspectors, and that's what CAR requires. They require that you have a minimum amount of E&O insurance. We blow it away. We have $10 million of E&O insurance. And you hate to say it, it's not if, but when something bad's going to happen, you can feel safe with us because we've got that E&O insurance. And then you have to have some type of certification. And in our case, we've got the ASHI certification. So it's good that they're trying to implement something to make sure not just anybody's out there doing, we come across them every now and then. We see some, I got a guy who does home inspections for $150 or something like that. I doesn't have insurance. probably hasn't been background checked or whatever. So anyways, so that's just a little bit about Home Guard and myself. I'm the local account manager. All I do is this. My job is to be the liaison or to be, your assistant in a way, right? So I don't do home inspections. I don't do customer service. I don't do billing. And none of those people do the other things. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Got some M&Ms in there if you'd like some. Peanut and
what are you doing today?
termite training.
Oh, nice.
Termite
Cool.
inspection reports, yeah.
Oh, great. Gary does good all the time.
Yeah.
Appreciate the business.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So let's just jump into it. Hopefully this will move forward when I hit the button. Perfect. So just a little bit about what we're gonna cover today. Like I talked about, termite inspectors, they have to be licensed. It's done through the state board. The state board even dictates how the report is. So unlike our home inspection reports and our roof reports, where we can decide the layout, we can make them very pretty and nice, and easy to read. Can't do it with termite reports because it's governed by the board, the pest control board, structural pest control board. So we'll go over all that stuff, what to expect, how to read the reports, different type of inspections, and then the finding terms and certification. So I don't know if you've looked at a termite report recently, but like I mentioned, they're all going to be the same. And so we'll kind of go over the important parts of the termite report and what information you'll see on here. The most important advice I can give on the termite and even the home inspection is to make sure you read it. Most of our problems that we deal with are because someone didn't read the report, and then someone's upset a week, a month, 6 months later, and then it comes back to, well,
it was in the report.
There it is. And so there's a lot of information, but it's best to do your best to make sure you try to dot every I and cross every T. And that's what the owner of the company, I've sat through his presentation a couple times, and he's been in the termite business for a very long time. That's He must have said it 10 times during the presentation. Read. So we all call it a termite report, but it's not a termite report. It's a wood destroying pests and organisms inspection report. So there's a difference, and that's something that surprised me the first time when I saw them out, and they're looking around under sinks, and and we're in the shower, and I'm like, oh, termites in the shower, but they're looking for water because water creates the wood destroying organisms. When you've got standing water or water that's dripped and dripped and dripped in it for a long time, that will cause that wood destroying organism, different than a termite. And we'll cover some of that too as we go. So again, like I'm going to say probably like him 10 times, make sure everything is correct when you get the report. Is it really 2623 Anywhere Street, right? Is this the right report? Is this the right information? Jimmy, who's the owner, he told me how he showed up, and I forget exactly how he described it, but there was like a cross street, and he looked on his thing and it said, go to 2623, and he drives up and he sees 2623, and he sees the real estate sign, and he jumps in and he does the inspection. Well, apparently there was two 2623s, one on this street, one on this street, and they both happen to be for sale. So he did a free inspection for somebody. So it can happen. So really just make sure all the information is correct, even down to the address. Don't assume anything. You'll see who ordered it, and who people are. Those are, again, are very important things to check, fact check. Complete report, limited report, supplemental report, reinspection report. So more often than not, you're ordering a complete report, and that is for the, say you gave us the address 2623 Anywhere Street, that home and anything attached to it. There may be a barn or a shed that's out on the property somewhere. That isn't part of the complete report. It needs to be attached to that.
They have a patio in the back.
Yeah. Now, if it's attached, it counts. If it's like a gazebo or somewhere sitting out, not part of it. So the complete report is everything that's attached to this address, to that home. Yep, so there's an inspection of the entire structure, all attached or abutted structure. And this is more often than not what we're seeing in this area. I'll just explain what I just said. Limited report. You might come out and say, man, we know this patio is not good and it's infested or whatever, and we don't want you inspected. Okay, we will. We'll inspect everything but that, but we're going to call it a limited report. And we're going to call that out very clearly that we've inspected everything but whatever it is. And we've seen that with, you know, when a mother-in-law house is attached, or all kinds of different things. You'd be surprised what, I don't want to say what people want to get away with, but that's the difference.
They want to avoid looking at.
Yeah. So, and like it mentions, it could be with a condo or townhouse, you know, that's maybe something's part of the HOA or whatever, but we're going to be very clear about what we're calling out and what we're doing. Supplemental report. That's when, and unfortunately this happens a lot, we might come out and do an inspection and we're not going to open up walls, we're not going to do anything, but we might notice something and say, hey, this needs to get worked on. And you say, great, you know, we give you a bid and everything. You say, come on out and do it. And we go to open it up and we go, oh golly, right? Behind the wall, we find a whole bunch more stuff. We're going to do a supplemental report. More than likely, we'll stop what we're doing, write up the supplemental report and let you know. It's frustrating for everybody involved in the process, but it's the nature of the beast. Yeah, so that's when a supplemental report will be issued. Reinspection report. So let's go back to that same example. We come out and do an inspection. We give you the items that need to be fixed or cleared or taken care of. And you say, that's great, I know a contractor. You know, I want to use them to do this work. And they go out and they do all the work. They get everything done. We need to be the ones that come out and do the reinspection. So then you'll call us up and go, hey, my contractor's done. Come on back out and reinspect. So we'll come out and reinspect. We're going to check that it's a reinspection to clear basically all the work that was done.
Do you guys guarantee your work? Because I know you do the all of that as well. So just to alleviate, you know, the multiple parties.
Yes, we do. Yeah, our work is guaranteed for a year. For the roof, if we do roof work and termite work, they're both guaranteed for a year. This is just more information on there. We're going to give a description of the property that's there. And again, we're just kind of walking through the report. And again, this is important to note. Is this what it was, right? Oh my gosh, this was a 2-story home. Red flag, you know, you guys did something wrong, or, you know, wood frame. No, this isn't wood frame, this is aluminum, you know, or different kind of studs or whatever. Just let us know. And again, I think I'm on 3. Make sure you read everything on the report.
Yeah.
Okay, so the different types of things that we might come across. Subterranean termites, drywood termites, the fungus dry rot, and that's that we're destroying the organisms. And then other for the inspection, and I'll give you the details on all those. Subterranean termites. So there's 2 main termites we're going to cover: the subterranean and drywood. Subterraneans are the ones, and I'll show you some pictures, but they live in the ground. So we don't see it as much here. Houses that sit up on a foundation versus on a slab. So the house I grew up as a kid was up on a foundation. It was a great little place to go play and goof around under there, go forts and whatnot. But if I knew now what I knew then, or the other way around, if I knew then what I knew now, that's where these subterranean termites like to live. And then they build like a mud tunnel that connects to the wood. And so they need both.
I remember seeing those as a kid in Texas.
You do remember seeing them? The tunnels?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see them in my house, or maybe they weren't there. Hopefully they weren't there.
No, we got some relatives' house that, you can get underneath their house.
Yeah. So they need both to survive. And we can treat these pretty easily with treating the soil because they can't survive without the soil. So we can treat that locally and take care of the subterranean termites. All right, so there's the tubes. So that's what they're going to use to get from the soil to the wood and back and forth. And pretty easy to identify. There's companies that actually sell treatment for this. I came across a new home, is it Menifee or Marietta, and they had a system where they said, oh, we're going to take care of the termites. This house is guaranteed, you know, we'll make sure there's no termites in here. And what they did basically is they put stuff in the soil that would stop, but it only stops subterranean termites. Because yeah, you can treat the soil, make sure nothing's coming up, but when we get to the other termites, you'll see why. Just some more pictures of that. What they look like. I've never seen one up close. Pretty dang small. Yeah, well, there's just so many of them. So those are just the different types of havoc they can wreak on a home. It's, I can see why they make such a big deal now about it, because I thought, you know, geez, everybody's got termites. But when you get them, you don't take care of them, they can.
Especially here, we get a little mini earthquake and next.
Right? Yeah, and they've gutted the wood out. Okay, so drywood termites are a little bit more what we see. They don't need the soil. They're going to live completely inside the wood. So they get in there, they live there. They may leave. The colony might get too big, and then they've got to split and go find a different home. I've seen it before in Temecula. They swarm. So what they'll do is they basically they grow wings overnight, and they get shoved out of the colony.
Wow.
And then they're not meant to fly. So they just kind of go wherever they can go, and as soon as they hit the ground, their wings fall off, and they try to make a home. Sometimes that can be, if you say you've got an attic, and they're in the attic, and they get shoved out, they just might grab the next piece of wood over. So they might never leave your home. If they're in an area where they get shoved out to the outside, you'll see them swarm, and that's where I saw it. I was like, look at these things all over the ground. And it's easy to see them too because you'll spot their wings. So like I said, when they hit the ground, the wings fall off, they start looking for some wood to go into. And so if you're in an attic and you see wings everywhere, you know pretty much what's happened, that more than likely you've got termites here, they got pushed out, and now you might have them in two locations. And you've got them back, right? And you've got them here and somewhere else. And so we'll try our best to try to find where they shoved out at and where they went to. If we can, that's when you've got to go to the fumigation versus treat them locally. So yeah, so you can treat them. If you know exactly where they're at, you can find the little, I think we'll show pictures, but sometimes you'll walk property and see it looks like a little pile of sawdust. And we can isolate it to there and we can treat it locally. If they're everywhere or we can't find where they're at, but we know, say we find a bunch of wings, and we know they're here, and we'll hunt and hunt and hunt to try to find their hole. But if you're, say you're in an attic with insulation everywhere, try and find the little things of sawdust, and if it's, say they're here and the stuff falls, you'll find the thing, but if they're up high, and by the time the sawdust, it spreads. So, but we can treat them locally, again, or with fumigation. So that's the kind of damage they can do. That's what they look like.
It's funny, we're matching with the, I noticed you're not the only one with two phones.
I've got my own phone and my work phone. Like, can I just use my phone? No, you gotta have your own work phone. So yeah. Fortunately, one of them's smaller, so I'm not carrying around Probably see a lot around here. Got the wood decks, wood patio covers. It's prime for the termites because it's easy to find. It's outside. More often than not, there's some paint missing, and they can just get right in there. Yeah, so that's them. That's them with their wings. That's what the wings look like.
Great.
Pellets. Push out. Okay, so we talked about the termites. Now we'll talk about why it's not really a termite report, right? So fungus and dry rot. So we look for that too, and sometimes that frustrates people because they're like, no, just find the termites. No, again, we're governed by the Structural Pest Control Board. We need to go find these things. So if there's some damage somewhere where something leaked and created a water problem, we're going to look for it and make sure that dry rot doesn't exist. And that's a result of the long-term infection by wood decaying fungus. So it's fungus in there. It's not just the water that causes the problem. The water gets there, creates the fungus, and then that creates the dry rot. Yep. So there is a difference between the dry rot and the fungus.
That's all about dry rot.
Yeah, and it needs to be treated too. It needs to be taken care of. It does just as much damage as a termite. So there's a couple different kinds. Brown rot, white rot, and then of course dry rot. So yeah, the wood, it needs to have water there. So it's not really dry rot. Once it's dry, it's going to stop doing its thing. Yeah. You can see the white rot is more common in the hardwoods, and then the brown rot splits against the grain is the important thing, because it's gonna
Break it out.
Yep. You can see that the brown rot kind of grows rows. Okay, other findings. These are conditions that may lead or have led to wood destroying pests and organisms. So, these are going to be things that's not termite damage or wood destroying organism damage, but it's going to create it. So we're going to call out things that will lead to the problem. Depending on the lender and who's involved, they're going to say, yeah, you need to take care of, one, if there's termites, you obviously got to take care of that. And you have to take care of the things that are going in a very short term lead to a problem. And that's why I said they're always in the bathrooms and the showers, because that's where a lot of times the caulking has come away. There's a leak that's kind of going on the floor that's now dripping down above the kitchen or whatever. So lots of different things that can happen. Yeah, and that's caulking is certainly one of the biggest ones. Further inspection. This happens a lot, especially when people are getting ready to move. They take everything they got and they stage it in the garage. And then we show up to do an inspection and we can't get anywhere or do anything in the garage. We're going to note that further inspection is needed because we couldn't inspect it. Right. So we want everyone to know that came out, we did as best we could, but yet there's an area we didn't get to. And we'll note it why, the garage was full of stuff, or the was locked, the attic was locked, or the crawl space was locked, we couldn't get to it, or was blocked, whatever it is, and we'll note it. And we'll come out once given access and do the inspection at no charge. There it is. Seen it a bunch.
Yeah, showing homes that everything has happened. Like they just Instead of cleaning the house, it's clear.
Yeah, right, just move it somewhere else. Yeah. Sometimes we'll see something like this, you'll see it up here, you know, it's a problem, we can't get to it, because it's either we have to cut it open, or, you know, there's just no access to it. Sometimes it can just be simple as a stain that happened, and, you know, the moisture's gone, so it's not gonna have any more problems, but it's there. So important things to look at, section 1, section 2, and further inspection areas as you look through these reports, to know what's important. So section 1, and you'll see these in the report, and they're labeled as such, 1A, 2A, 3A. So as you're looking through, you'll know. But so section 1, these are the things that obviously are the most important. There's actually a problem, and it should be addressed and taken care of. You know, dry wood, subterranean, whatever it is, it's there, it's a problem, it's done something. And like I was just talking about a sec ago, the section 2 items are items that are going to lead to section 1, right? There's a dripping faucet, you know, there's a backed up gutter, whatever it is.
The last one I looked at had a lot of sections. We had a couple of section A's, and then we had a lot of section 2s on there.
Yeah.
She had to get someone to come out somewhere.
And it all depends on, you know, the mortgage company and whatnot. Someone like, no, just fix section 1, you know, take care of section 2 when you move in or whatever. It just depends, right? VA, FHA, they're gonna want you to take care of all that stuff.
And I think that was the case. It was FHA.
And it makes sense because, you know, someone who's a new homeowner, they're just getting in, they're probably not gonna have a lot of extra money, like, hey, yeah, we'll fix that when you move in. Maybe not, right? And so they know that this is gonna be a problem really quick, like, so. But a lot of stuff is pretty easy to take care of, right? Hey, we just change out the faucet or change out this thing. Didn't you have any damage yet? We've caught it before it created the damage. Get the leaves out of the gutters. Make sure the downspout is, you know, a lot of times those get kicked, and the downspout that leads out is missing. And just put in a new piece, and, you know, so a lot of stuff's pretty easy. And then the further inspection items, again, things that we can inspect that need to be looked at. A lot of reading, right? But it's super, super important that, again, that things look at, especially on the buying side, right? When you get the termite report for your buyer, you're going to want to know, you know, what areas not inspected and why not, right? We didn't look at the barn in the backyard. We didn't look at the mother-in-law flat. We didn't look at the gazebo, right? Whatever it is, you're going to want to know that and cover that with your client. So they're completely aware. It's not to scare people. That's not what we do, right? A lot of people go, you guys' job, you just go out there and freak people out. No, we're presenting the evidence, right? How it's presented is right. You know, if you got someone who's like just high energy or whatever, it's going to be like, oh, but if you're nice and calm, you're explaining, here, this is it. Might not be a problem, might be, but you'll definitely be aware of it. Like I mentioned, we're not going to tear anything apart until we come out, if we need to come out and do work.
Right.
And then we're going to tear out as part of the work. But if, you know, we look up and go, geez, there might be some behind there. We can't get to it, right? We're not going to get in the interior finished walls, behind installed cabinets, you know, roof, underneath the floor coverings. So those are things that everybody pretty much knows about, but again, legally, and the Pest Control Board wants to be really clear that. And so I go, hey, here you go. You guys didn't find these termites that were behind all these cupboards. Well, did you really want us to rip the cupboards off the wall? No, but again, they're going to point the finger. But all that information is going to be there in the report. So you asked about the guarantee. So for 1 year and fumigations for 3 years. So, and again, that information will all be, and anybody who does this will include that again, because it's very controlled. So we'll definitely stand behind our work. We've been doing this, like I said, for 30 years. Half the ownership is a termite company. They pride themselves on really what they do, how they do it, the work. I've seen them, you know, and stuff a lot of times. I'm like, wow, that's ridiculous. You know, the complaints we get. They want to be there because this is the business we're in.
Right.
We're here to have relationships with agents. Like I said, up north, we're well known. We're kind of compared to like we're the Home Depot up north.
Right.
Everybody knows who we are. Down here, we're just a little mom and pop hardware store. But either way, we're still going to stand behind our work, and we want that relationship. We're not here to come get a quick fumigation bid, make a few bucks, and get out of town.
Right.
That's not what we're here for. We're going to stand behind the work. So just more information. The plumbing stuff is, you know, we can only do so much, right? So if we do any work around plumbing, that stuff, water goes where it wants to, right? And we do as best we can. Yeah, we do as best we can, but you know, obviously, if we do any, you know, type of work like wood and then fumigation, and if we drive out the termites, we're going to guarantee that for a year. If we fumigate for 3 years, with the plumbing stuff, we won't guarantee any work done by others. So that's where, you know, we did the inspection report. You hired your contractor to come out and do the work. We inspected it. We said, yep, it's good, but we're not going to guarantee that work. Right. It makes sense, right? This just kind of drives people nuts. They say, well, you know, we might come out and inspect the home and say it's great today. Tomorrow, that swarm of lost, fluttering around termites from the neighbors can come fluttering in and land on the patio, and boom, we can't control that. So it's good for that day, and it seems weird, but you know, things happen, especially with termites. They're very mobile. That's just talking about how we can re-inspect repairs. So that goes to the, when we do the inspection report, we have someone else, we'll come back out within 4 months. And we won't charge any more than we did the first time in doing the inspection. So for us, it's $75 to do an inspection. We come out for up to 4 months, we'll come out and do it again, re-inspect it for that same price. Yeah, it's just the same. So at the end of the report, you're going to see all the findings, the section 1 information. We'll include pictures to help make it easy. So we'll note it, we'll show a picture. There'll also be that diagram. It should be pretty evident.
That's pretty good. You know, ones I have and have photos.
Yeah, we'll include those. You'd be surprised how often we put this information in. You've got the diagram, you've got the pictures, and then you hire whoever, or your clients hire whoever, Uncle Bob or whatever, and they come out and they'll go around the corner and fix the other side. And then they come out and they go, well, you didn't tell us it was this. Yeah, pretty clear, but yeah, they can do it, and they usually, but more often than not, it takes us a couple times, 2 or even 3 times to come back out and go, nope, you fixed that. That was nice. It needed it, but this is what we were calling out. And with the diagrams and the pictures, but you just never know. Some people, you know, they might. My wife's left-handed, I'm right-handed. We look at things completely different. I think that way is that way, and she knows that way. Okay, so and that is the nice thing about us doing the repairs. If when we issue the report, we do the repairs, we know exactly what to do. The second we're done with the work, you get your notice of completion, you get your section 1 or your section 2 clearance, and you can move on. No re-inspection required when we do the work. Again, it's just, we're going to do everything humanly possible to make sure we're very clear about what it is and what the problem is. Show you the pictures and then we'll label the pictures. If you want us to do the work, we can. There's going to be, the information is there. For termite work, it's very important to get this in right away. There's a 3-day right to refuse. That's state law. So we can't start work for 3 days. So a lot of the deals lately are 7-day, 10-day, it's crazy, right? And we get people saying, okay, yeah, we need to get to work, we can do it right away. And the first thing I tell them is we'll sign the paperwork and get it back right away, get that clock ticking. And then hopefully, you know, if we're available, we can get out there and get going on the work. A lot of people wait and then they go, hey, I need you out there tomorrow.
Yes,
Not gonna happen. So make sure if you want us to do it, you and your clients sign that paperwork and get it right back in right away. I wish a lot of stuff had that, you know, kind of the 3-day, like used cars, right? They say, hey, you buy a new car, it's yours, right? You don't get no 3 days, right? It's gone. At least you can think about it here. And I think that's a great thing, right? I mean, we're not going to do the work and then take it back, but it kind of gives 3 days to think about, you know what? Let me check with somebody else. Let me get a second opinion.
right.
Instead of just signing the paperwork and off we go. And I don't want to say there's unscrupulous people out there, but, and again, make sure you do the initials. We're going to spell it all out very clearly by what work needs to be done and what the breakdown of the cost is. We're not just going to say, hey, $5,000 and we'll take care of everything. We're going to know. You're going to see all the items listed that can tie back to that report. So, you know, geez, they really want $350 to, you know, paint this or whatever it is. You're going to know exactly what the cost is by item, section 1, section 2, or section 3, what it is and what the cost is. We're not just, and again, this has to be this way for everybody, but not tooting our horn, but it's very clear on what work needs to be done and what the cost of each item is. And please.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Jay.
Nice to see you.
You too. We're so friendly here. So the authorization agreement, super important. Got to sign it. Got to have it. We won't do work without it. And we'll issue the certifications once we take care of any of those items. That it's certified and done. That makes the lenders very happy. I didn't mention it to you, but we can do what's called a roof cert, which is different from the termite stuff. Some people, not so much anymore, like to know that the roof is good. Like we come out inspect and go, hey, it's good. And they're like, well, what is, you know? So for an additional $240, we'll issue a 1-year roof cert. And we're basically saying that this roof will not leak for a year. They were popular when I first started. I haven't seen so many of them lately, I think just because of the nature of the market right now. You know, no one's having to get roof certs, no one's having to get anything extra right now. So, but when things are normal, it's nice to know that, you know, your roof is guaranteed. I'd like to know.
Like, as disclosed, like, they don't, like, we don't fix everything, just please let us buy this home.
Right?
Yeah.
It's insane. Where before they like, no, we want a roof cert. We want to know that the roof isn't going to leak for a year. So as part of our roof inspections, we can do that because the water leads to the termite problems. You know, if the roof is leaking.
I got a question about the roof. So oftentimes when homes have solar, it kind of compromises the roof when they drill into the roof. Can you still certify it even though they've had solar?
Yeah. So our roof inspection is done by a licensed contractor. He's going to go out there. He's going to take a look at it. If you want the roof cert, we'll do it. And he's going to either say, yeah, we'll guarantee this work. He's going to say, not until you do this. You know, yeah, the solar company didn't do this, didn't do that. It's not sealed. They'll call it out. And then they're going to say, if you want a roof cert, these things need to be done. And then we can do it. Yeah. Now, any work we do. So if we do a roof inspection and we say, here's the repairs needed, and we do those repairs are guaranteed for a year. But say we we did a roof inspection and we worked on this side of the house. And we worked on stuff over here. So this work is guaranteed for here. If that side of the house starts to leak, that's not our problem, unless we issue a roof cert for the whole thing. Yeah. And then we'll guarantee the entire roof for that year. And there is 2-year roof certs available too. Those are done by bid. We'll tell you, we give the 240 price for the 1-year roof cert, but anything over that, we have to look at it and say, okay, we'll guarantee this roof for this amount. It's almost like insurance. Well, that's it. You've got my information.
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to answer any questions you have, or if anything comes up in the future. We want to be a resource. Caitlin mentioned you're interested in training. We do other trainings as well. We've got an NHD, a guy that's been in the NHD business for 25 years. He's amazing. He knows so much about that stuff. You know, I've learned a ton from him, you know, things like liquefaction, these fault zones and all these different things. So if you're interested in that, that's something we can do. He can do a very detailed one. I wouldn't say mine was very detailed, but he could do a very detailed presentation similar to this one. That takes, you know, a half hour to an hour. Also, we can do kind of quick little updates. There's been a lot going on lately.